Welcome to Idea Success TV. Idea Success TV is your video cast that focuses on trends, practices, and solutions for moving ideas to action for both purpose and profit. Hear stories from people who have taken their ideas and brought them to reality to make an income and to impact the world. Be a part of ideation and pitch sessions. Learn about business trends and discover best practices and innovative ideas for bringing thoughts into reality and plans into action. And now, here's your host, Sylvia Henderson. Hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to Idea Success TV. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host, and I am honored that you're spending your time with us today. And I say us because I have a guest who's going to give you some great information. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, or if anybody who is presenting themselves at a trade show, at a conference, at an expo, whatever that may be, you need to be listening and watching today. My guest is Rhode, and she is the founder and CEO and grand poobah of Brand Market. Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. That's a great introduction.
Hey, I figured the real title is on the bottom of the screen, so, you know, what the heck. So I'm going to read real briefly a brief bio so that those of you who have never heard of Laura know a little bit about why we're going to be talking about what we're talking about today and why she is the person to talk to us. So Laura is a brand marketing specialist. Keep that title in mind because it's really important. A brand marketing specialist, a trade show consultant, and a trainer, an event professional, and an online company store expert. Okay, I didn't think of that one. She approaches marketing your brand as a collective process across many channels with exceptional attention to detail. And we're going to learn about why that's important. So, Laura, again, we've got a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
As an entrepreneur who is in the meetings industry and vends and expos and presents, a lot of what you do fascinates me because we as entrepreneurs don't learn the intricacies. We think we just, I'm going to be a vendor. We spend our good money. We stand there at our table, and some stand behind the table the whole time, and we don't really utilize what we've spent money on. So just first of all, what is a brand marketing specialist?
So what I try to do is to help validate what the individual is trying to do out in the business world. So if you haven't figured out your sweet spot, if you haven't determined who your ideal client is, if you don't really know who you should be serving and how to write your mission statement to make sense to other people. So you need to determine first how to couch what you do so that you know how to present what you do. And after that, then you need to get it out there. You have to market yourself and know how to market yourself to hit that sweet spot, to hit that population. I say too many people go with the spaghetti approach. They throw it out there, see if it sticks on the wall. Well, you know, how many people are you going to catch that way? How many businesses are getting that from other people as well? How much spam do you get over the course of a day? How much email, how many emails do you get? How much mail do you get with all sorts of ideas out there coming your way? How do you know what's of value? How do you know what's worth the money? So it's just kind of trying to identify and make it all worth your time and your pocketbook.
I just thought of something. So you're helping business people avoid visual spam.
Absolutely.
Instead of the written spam that's in our emails and inboxes.
Exactly, exactly.
So that's a whole lot more comprehensive than just I've got something that you can put your name on and that's branding.
Exactly, exactly. And there are brand specialists who will sit down and actually go into how you think, how you developed your product, what your product is.
Wow.
I don't delve into it. That's more in the coaching field.
Okay.
And I like to work with that individual on programs and campaigns and events and trade shows and different types of marketing, and I leave that to the individual type of one-on-one, really
Okay.
in-depth coaching, because there are brand coaches to help you identify your
yes.
brand.
Yes, and then once you've identified it, come to you to say, okay, here's what it is.
Right.
Now, how do I maximize it or
Exactly.
effectively communicate it?
Exactly.
When I first met you, I didn't know about the visual stuff, the physical stuff. I just thought, okay, brand specialist, she'll help me figure out my branding and figure out how to best promote that. Then the next time we interacted, it was all the physical stuff, the what I call the cool stuff that I see at trade shows and conferences and all that.
Right.
I did say that I was going to ask you this earlier. Is it too deep to ask what's the difference between a trade show, a conference, an expo, and a convention? Because I hear those terms.
And really, it's all determined by the presenting company.
Okay.
A lot of times it has to do with who's putting it on, who the parent company is, who's supporting it, who's making the money off of it. Conventions are obviously the largest attended. We have Republican and Democratic conventions, obviously large numbers attend there. We have the AMA for the Medical Association. We have SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management. So those are conventions because they're very large groups of people coming together for a specific event. But they're not necessarily tied to business. Conventions can be tied to gender, they can be tied to religious orientation, they can be tied to like-minded people, people who all bike, people who all, purchase a certain item. So conventions can be specific to a lot of different areas. Conferences tend to be more in the mind of the exhibit company or the presenting company. Right. They tend to be more functional, more factual. They have
education.
Right. They have more education.
Yeah.
They impart knowledge. Okay. They have small round tables. They have a keynote speaker, different things like that. Which not to say they won't have that at a convention as well, but they tend to drill down more. Conferences drill down more, and then all of those can have expos. But they don't all tend to have trade shows because a trade show, by definition, the word trade would be specific to a trade. So people in the trade show section of the American Medical Association would be related specifically to medical practice and what would work for them. It would be a wide variety. It could be anything from pharmaceuticals all the way to office software. Yeah. But it will all be related to the field. Whereas an expo, you could go to Home and Garden Show or Home and Garden Expo. It's an expo, it's got a specific category, but it's open to the public.
Okay. Okay, so that's cool. But all of it is intended for the participants, whoever is actually spending money to be in front of people, to be in front of people.
Connect with a population.
Correctly, yes. Okay, and that's what I really want to spend time on, and I think people want to know when, who are watching this. So I'm going to focus more on that kind of the exhibiting vendor kind of table thing, as opposed to all the other stuff that we could talk about for a bunch more 30 minutes segments.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that I, as a vendor and exhibitor, don't realize is that there is a science and an art and a real business reason for the way you set up your table.
Absolutely.
And that's what we wanted to talk about primarily is what are some of the things that I need to think about when I'm saying yes to the commitment, when I'm planning on how I'm going to lay things out, and when I'm actually at the expo. So I'm going to kind of like let you go, but I've got to watch the time.
Right.
So,
well, the first thing to do is to evaluate whether the show is really for you.
Isn't that true for just about anything?
Really,
yes.
Do your due diligence. Look online. Is it the first year? Has it ever been done before? How many people attend? Who's the population that attend? Are there statistics? Is there a show office? Can you get some background information? And don't necessarily jump because the price looks good. An event that may be really inexpensive may be inexpensive for a reason. and you may not really get the volume or the foot traffic that you really want. So you really need to see what the value is. Also, is the trade show or the floor of the show going to be tied to you as a speaker? So are you going to be able to do double duty? And don't be afraid to ask if you get the booth free for speaking. So there may be other advantages there. Is there a speaker's area where you could have your booth? So there's different ways to approach it, but do your due diligence and check to make sure that it's even worthwhile to be there.
And I would dare say, ask some other people who have,
Absolutely, who've vended before. Absolutely. Find out if you can select your space. And is there different costs involved in where you are on the show floor?
Okay.
Because that will make a difference too. You know, if they're going to stick you right next to somebody who does exactly what you do, and they've got a budget that's $10,000 bigger than yours, you have a problem.
Yeah.
So you want to know where you're going to be. And usually a good show planner will be able to do all of that. And they want their exhibitors to be successful too. So they usually will work with you on something like that.
Okay.
The next thing would be to prepare. Make sure that you know what you're going into, the amount of time you're going to be there, the amount of space that you have, so that you can visually map out your space. And you want your space to be inviting. Basically what they give you is a screen in back and usually short walls on the side, maybe a table and maybe not. You may have to bring your own table. You have to find out. Depends on the level of the show. You always want to have a tablecloth. Is it worthwhile to do a printed tablecloth in front? Maybe not. If there's a lot of people standing in front and you spent $200, $300, $400 on a tablecloth in the front, that's not being seen. Maybe more worthwhile to do standing signs behind. You want to be able to engage from eye level.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing, is to make sure that your booth is inviting from eye level, and not everybody's eye level is the same. So you want to make sure that if you're sitting or you're standing in front of your booth, you're not blocking your entire message. I do a presentation where I actually took pictures at different conferences. And I showed how there were people sitting at tables in front, and they masked the entire logo of the business and their mission statement. Well, no one had any idea what they did. How many people are stopping for something like that?
Yeah.
If you're running through a show and there's a lot of booths, you want to attract attention.
Right.
So you want to make sure that your mission is out there and that your message is out there, and it's short and concise. You know, needs to be simple, stupid, and easy to read.
I see the banners sometimes with like whole paragraphs on them, and I think
not a good idea. not a good idea. There's time for that, but not in a show.
Okay.
You really only have 8 seconds as they walk by to engage population.
Wow.
And that's even shorter than you do when they're on your website, which they say is upwards of almost 20 seconds. You don't have that in a trade show floor. You know, they're going by really at a clip. So you want to engage and you want to attract. The other thing you want to make sure you do is have some way in which to passively engage when you're talking with someone else. If you don't necessarily have a multitude of people with you, you want to have maybe a screen with some rolling information, or slides that go through, or some type of banner where they can sit and they can stand and read, or information out on a stand that they can take a look at. Something that will engage, so that you will be attractive and they will want to stay or come back while you're interacting with someone else. You also want a way to attract their information for the future. Whether it be, you know, a giveaway, something, you know, down the line or whatever, but always be transparent about that. You know, we will put you on our newsletter, but you'll be in a drawing for XYZ. So you always want to be transparent in that. So that's really in the booth itself. You never want to make it so that it's you and a piece of paper. It's not attractive. It's not. You may be fabulous at what you do, but you're not telling anybody what you do in that way.
Okay.
You know, until you open your mouth, you haven't engaged them. So you need to engage them passively in the booth to get them to come to you. You can only say hello, come here to just so many people.
Right. And I know as a attendee, sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to look at them. Not going to look at them.
No eye contact. No eye contact.
I just want to see what's on the table. I don't want to look at them. That's right.
Exactly.
So, and I know there's so much more involved, but so what's on the table? Because you've got a couple of some things here, and so it's making you remember that how many times I go by the tables and I'm looking to see, oh, what cool stuff do they have?
Right.
And I could
How
care
big is
less
their
about
budget?
That's right. So tell a little bit about the stuff.
So unless you're really giving away something that's really ridiculously large and you've got some big contest going. It's really important to make sure that the item has some return on investment for you. It needs to have some value, and it should really, ideally, be functional in either their office, their home, or their car. Because that way, they're not getting rid of it.
Okay.
So they're going to hold on to it. It's going to be in their face. Also, anyone that comes in contact with them, it'll be in their face. So you're getting that extra traffic. It's kind of like a billboard. You know, cars, that's the #1 way to advertise a billboard, because there's so many numbers of cars that go back and forth, but who has the money for a billboard? So it's that kind of thing. This is your billboard. And so you want it to stay out there, and you want people to be attracted to it and keep it functional. At this time, anything that works with things that people take and do is what's best at a trade show. So you want to make sure that they can do something with it, they can use it functionally, that it's not just going to sit somewhere. We used to have mouse pads. It used to be very popular.
Yep. When they had mouses.
When they had mouse. Okay. At this point, there are still companies selling them, and there are still companies buying them, but they're of no functionality really. People don't really hold on to them all that much. So we're going more towards.
Hold my lamp in place.
There you go. I'm sure that company would not be thrilled to know that that's what they're being used for.
Okay.
Yeah. Like calendars, magnetic calendars. You see a lot of companies that send those out with sports teams on them. Funny story. There's several schools in my area, elementary schools. They ask for those to get sent in by the parents. When they get them, they cut them up and they glue them on the back of the children's art. Then they send them home in the backpack.
So there goes that
So
branding.
I'm sure that those companies that print them year after year after year are not aware and probably wouldn't be very happy to know that it's on the refrigerator on the back of somebody's art. So with that being said, things that stick around, things that people will use, and sometimes even put a sticker on them with a coupon or a come on to return back.
Okay.
This is fabulous. This is a cell phone holder. You can either, meaning that a cell phone, you could stand it up this way. You can also use it for an iPad. It will stand up. It will stand in all directions. This is very popular. It's got a really nice, large imprint area. Comes in a multitude of colors. And it's probably less than $2 an item.
Wow.
Very, very popular. Really nice item. New to the industry. Very sturdy. Very, very good item.
Some versions thereof, because I've had my cell phone sitting in one for at least, I don't know, 4 years.
Well, there are larger stands. But they've
still
become a lot more compact now, and they're really very, very nice. Depending on whether your population is female, small nail file. Even men like these, actually. They fold up really nicely. They stay in your purse, in your pocket. They go, you know, they can nick their nails too. Stay in your car, stay in your desk. Nice imprint area as well. Very low budget. Moving up a little bit, everybody always talks about a pen. You can do a pen that's 10 cents, you can do a pen that's metal and, you know, $5 a pen, $10 a pen. The biggest thing is to make sure that when you order a pen, the biggest problem is you don't know what you're getting. There may be 15 companies that all do the same pen.
That's right.
So to go to someone who's aware of what goes on with that pen is really your best advantage. It's not necessarily going to be much more expensive, but the ink may be full versus a quarter. The ink may be smooth writing versus being choppy and not write well. So that's the value. You never want to be that company where they pull it out and they go, oh, look, that company gave me a real crappy pen. You just don't want to be that company.
So then let me ask you, because I know we won't be able to go through all of the items, but you just mentioned something that I want you to kind of highlight. That's really the difference between coming to a brand specialist and the tons of catalogs that we tend to get as in our mail, and it's like it makes me crazy. But you know, I get these catalogs and I go, oh, what do I need? What do I need her for? I'll just go flipping through here and find the pen that's in my budget. So what's the difference between having a brand specialist, and you can do some shameless self-promotion?
Well, there's a couple of different things. Not necessarily will you get something any cheaper from those catalogs, because the hidden fees that you're not zeroing in on originally are going to jump out at you when you do your when you do your application online, when you order online. Setup fee, art adjustment fee, different things that they have to do to tweak your art because your art isn't in the format that they need, or it's not clear, or it doesn't fit into the 1.5 by 3.25 size space that goes on that pen that you're not aware of, but a brand specialist is. So we have the ability to look at your art and say, hey, this is not going to print clearly, you're not going to be happy. But the company there is not going to say that. They're going to say, oh, we're just going to smash that art on there, they gave me their credit card, I'm done, here it gets shipped.
Okay. Okay.
That's the biggest difference.
So you really know then, you know your products and you know the differentiation between this supplier, this supplier, what's probably most appropriate for.
And it's not tough to find things within a budget. You can work with a specialist and they can find something for you that is in your budget, and don't be afraid to ask for something that's in your budget. Everyone knows that people have financial constraints, you know, but you can work with us and possibly get something 150 pieces where the catalog minimum was 500.
Talk about follow-up. I know we're kind of moving along, but talk about follow-up, because I'm assuming that once you've spent your money, given out your stuff, and people have gone off with their bag full of stuff, what's your advice for?
The biggest thing is to realize that you will have some work after the show is over. If you had a fishbowl and you collected business cards, you need to follow up with those people. If you had a clipboard and you asked for emails because you were going to put them in for a drawing, you have an obligation to reply to those people and respond to those people. They're not necessarily going to do business with you if you don't contact them back. Unless you had a long conversation with someone in particular and you took a lot of notes and you wrote things down, you need to have some form of client management system or customer management system in place before you go to the show. So you know when you get back, you're going to be sitting and you're going to spend 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. It's part of the show to put in all of those emails or addresses or phone numbers or however you want to follow up with all of those people. And that really you should have done before you went to the show. You should have put it into place so that you knew when you got back this was going to be a necessity. Because just because someone took your freebie or took your business card doesn't mean they're contacting you.
Probably, far from it.
And the better notes that you took on people, and the more that you can remember people, which is always a great thing. If you have a moment and you have a book and you have the ability, I tell people, if you have the time, get a little notebook, buy a small stapler, staple their business card to the top of the sheet of paper and write a note. When you email them back, if you have their business card and you talk to them and you can say, hey, you know, love that watch you were wearing. It was so colorful. It was so interesting. Just wanted to follow up with you. All of that makes your call no longer cold. Even if you met them at the show, they're still a cold call. So anything you can warm up makes a difference.
So with just a few minutes left, as the time goes so fast, I can't stand it. What other messages do you want to make sure that we small business owners, we entrepreneurs know about branding ourselves appropriately, especially for the visual brand, and of course, what specifically do you do?
Well, one of the biggest misnomers that people have is that once they put their business out there, everyone's going to come to them.
Oh yeah, build it, they will come.
Yeah, you have to do some research, and that has to do with attending shows as well, and networking. You need to go out there and do some Google research and find some groups in your area and connect with people and start to make relationships and see people again and again. And then after a while, you'll start to be remembered and hopefully people will start doing business with you. And you need to do business with them as well. Don't think it's just a one-way street. You have to offer your money to them for them to offer their money to you. It's a relationship that needs to be built. And segueing into what I do, in addition to being with Brand Market, and I've had my company for 17 years, so it's not brand new, and I've also been a wedding planner for 25. So my approach is a little bit more creative than the strict buy a pen, buy a pad,
Okay.
buy a sign. So I'm a little bit more from the creative side. I am also program chair for the Women Business Owners of Montgomery County. That, along with Team Network and BNI and the chambers, there's a lot of different ways to connect and find your niche and connect into the population and find relationships and build relationships and get education on the areas. You can't do everything, you can't be everything. And so that's important too. And Women Business Owners of Montgomery County, as you know because you've been a speaker, puts on the Power Conference. The Power Conference this year will be on September 7th. It is at the North Bethesda Conference Center, the Marriott on Marinelli Drive. Take a look at the conference center, the powerconference.com. Again, another way to network, meet a lot of different people, get tidbits of information.
And practice your exhibiting.
And
My
practice
gosh,
your
'cause I've been-
exhibiting. Absolutely. And stay within your budget. Don't overextend yourself and then be uncomfortable that you did something that you couldn't afford.
Yeah, just because you're standing next to Bank of whoever and they've got a bigger budget. Yeah.
Right.
You have to be a sponsor for me to say your whole name.
Right. And if you can afford to carry 50 pieces of promotional items and you sit next to someone at an event, don't take a table. Hand your promotional item to the person next to you. It doesn't have to be at a table. It doesn't have to be at a booth. I always tell people starting up, take your pen, have a pen, take your pen. When you go to a restaurant, take theirs, give them yours.
Okay. All right. And so, of course, your contact info has been on the bottom of the screen as far as your website, and that's got everything else on there.
Absolutely. Any questions? I am never, ever, ever annoyed if I don't get an order from an individual I answer a question to. You can always hit me up for questions.
And your intention at some point in time is to go deeper into these lessons about how
Absolutely.
teaching us to really how do you do this.
Absolutely. I've had clients for quite a while that I've worked with on trade show best practices and strategic planning and trade show training. But I'm starting to develop more of a specific package to get that out to people.
Okay,
so that
so
we
now
can
you have
really
to do it because I put it out there.
Oh, I guess so.
So, Laura, thank you so much for being on
Thank you
Idea
for having
Success
me.
TV. Yeah, because this is all my God. And ideas, oh my gosh, when I look at some of the promotional products and some of the marketing, I go, oh, that would be cool. Ooh, another idea. So if there's anything to get ideas creatively going, it's to see the multitude of stuff and to have you control me.
Well, you have to remember, in business, it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's not because you like it. My biggest question always is when someone comes to me with an item is why.
Cool. Hey, that's a great way to end. It's the why. Okay.
It's the why.
Think about that.
It's not about you, it's about them.
All right. Awesome. Laura, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And make sure when you're about to even contemplate, even plan to say yes to vending, exhibiting, any other way of visually presenting your brand, make sure you connect with Laura as a brand specialist because she can help you save money and time with the right investment. So I'm Sylvia Henderson. Thank you for spending your time and watching Idea Success TV. I'm honored that you do that. And until next time, tune in to another show. Thank you for watching Idea Success TV. Idea Success TV is a syndicated production of the Idea Success Network and Village Connector Media, the People's Prosperity Network. Permission to share, repost, and rebroadcast is freely given, provided it's done without charge of an access fee. If you have questions about this broadcast, or if you'd like to be a part of an upcoming segment, please contact us at Idea Success TV Contact. Thank you for listening and watching Idea Success TV.